Fox News Decision Desk can now officially project that Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
The former president's comeback will be.
Good afternoon, folks. Papa D here, coming to you from a very excited state of Florida, a very excited country, and a few more cups of coffee will make the day go by a little faster. Trying to get some volume up here. Hopefully that sounds all right. But welcome to our show today. We're running a little bit later in the day than some. We were up late last night like a lot of the country and saw what we had hoped and prayed for and had been talking to y'all about for such a long time. And as you saw from the little clip, thanks again. Thank you to Fox News for that graphic. And hopefully that gets shared all over the internet. But as you all know by now, Donald J. Trump was re-elected, the 47th president of the great United States of America. A lot of action that we'll talk about here. A lot still going on. And my counterpart here is coming in. We're hoping that we make our connection here. Again, we're all running on fumes here as far as sleep goes. But an exciting evening, and I hope you all got a chance to experience it. It was history in the making for a lot of reasons. We'll talk about that. But it was history, and it was what the country needed. And I'm going to say before I bring Angela in, I know she'll reiterate exactly what I'm saying, but thank you to all of y'all that came out, come to our channel, spent time listening to us, for voting, for getting out there. It's what made this election. And I'm not going to steal the thunder because I know Angie's got a lot of this stuff. I'm going to just push a couple buttons here while I bring her in. I should have done this already, but I was so excited reading more details about what is transpiring still as we speak. Push that button right there. Yeah, we'll do that right there, I think. We'll do that. All right. Well, but again, thank you to all for your support of our channel, and thank you for those of you that took the time to listen, made the decisions that had to be made, irrespective of who you voted for. We appreciate the fact that you performed your civic duty and voted, and the numbers were staggering. And we'll get a little bit deeper into that. But without any further ado, again, thank you to the subscribers. I'm thanking everybody and not working my way down the list here. But we thank our subscribers. We hope you take the time to watch our show today. This is episode 16. And we hope the 16th of many, many more as we proceed further into the Trump-Vance presidency. So with no further ado, let's see what we got here. We could bring someone in here with maybe a little bit more caffeine level than I've got right now. Angela.
Hey, can
You are there.
you hear me?
Oh, okay, looks like you froze up there briefly, but I think you're back.
Okay.
You're good. Well,
There's a little bit of a delay, but I think we're going to be okay.
yeah, I think the internet across the country is probably on fire right about now with all that's going on. But congratulations to all. I know Angie and I were back and forth. Yes, we did it. And we, as a community, we as a country, made history. And again, still a lot going on. We still got some Senate races, and The House is still in play, and there's a whole lot of things we can kind of get into a little bit. But the starting
Right.
point is the historic event and the numbers that came out of it. I think Angie and I missed our. Hold on a second. Man, my screens are going crazy.
Oh, I've got so many things pulled up too. I've been trying
I've
to
got
keep track of.
Got
I
way
do
too much
have
going
some
on.
breaking news.
Well, let's start off with that. I'm going to pass this off right to you because, I mean, I got a billion things on my mind, but I know you've got your items lined up here, so we'll make sure we get right deep into it and jump right on it because there's a lot to talk about. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Ange. You started out. By the way, guys,
Okay.
thanks again. Thank you to the subscribers. Thank you to everybody.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank
Y'all
you,
are
thank
awesome.
you, thank you.
We appreciate every single one of you, and we are looking forward to a bright future. So, Ange, take it off for a bit and hit us with the breaking news.
All right, so as of 11:58 a.m. Central Standard Time, Associated Press officially called Michigan for Trump. So right now,
Awesome.
he has swept the wall, you guys. Swept it. The whole thing is red. He's at 293 right now, and he's projected to take Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska, which are the only 3 states left that have not been called. So that would put him at a final count of 313. So we were 1 off, Dad, from the
missed it by
projection that we had been
1.
calling. But hey, that's pretty good.
Pretty close. Very close.
Pretty close.
Anything over 300 is a momentous red wall of pain.
Oh,
and,
it is.
And a
It's
sweep.
pretty red.
And we certainly the
Well, all
campaign and the supporters were able to accomplish that. So that is awesome. Is there any word yet? One thing I was following pretty close, or trying to, Pennsylvania Senate race. Has anything more popped out of that? Right now, that was still.
I have not checked into the
Still
Senate.
spinning.
I did see we are only 10 away from taking control of the House,
right.
with 9 seats looking favorable for Republicans to win those.
Right.
And those states are Arizona, California, and Iowa right now. That I was checking more on the House because I know we already for sure took the Senate.
Right.
But I knew the House was still there was a lot of
The House is still in
races
play,
that were still being counted.
but as Fox had reported earlier today, it is more than still in play. And so there is still a distinct possibility that we will have a complete sweep with complete control with the House for at least the next 2 years. Yeah, I'm just looking it up, and the one Senate race that's still being contested, Bob Casey is losing to Dave McCormick in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Yeah, he's been around forever and a month. And it's a tight one. It's 48.4% of the vote to 49.1%. It is close, but it shouldn't even be close. So
how much has already been counted, Dad? Does it have a breakdown?
97.4% of the votes are counted.
Okay, so they're it's any minute.
Half a percentage point. So at some point, they're going to have to make a call on it. But the call technically was made. But there's nothing as far as that being accepted. My volume okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Not here. Having a little monitor problem on my side. This feels awful. But anyway,
The internet is a buzz today, you guys.
Yeah, it is flying. But you go ahead. I just wanted to check on that. But that is one race that we're following pretty close here. A couple Senate races have not been fully settled yet. And this is one that takes a long-time player out of the game and creates another +1 on the Republican side. So,
right. I think what happened with Pennsylvania. Right. I think what happened with Pennsylvania the last couple of days is they have decided there needs to be a complete takedown and reestablishment in that state, top to bottom. Because if you see not only Trump taking Pennsylvania, which was an incredible moment, we all knew at that point that it was going to take a lot for her to come back. And I did the math twice. It wasn't possible for her to come back and succeed or exceed the 270 or even get to 270. So that was exciting. But then you see how the Senate and the House, these seats where, like you just said, Doug, there's people who have been in these seats for decades. And people have had enough. Enough is enough. You can only push people so far before they start to wake up and realize, like, okay, we need something to happen, because this is whatever this is, it's not working for us.
Right. When you can't afford the groceries and the gas and all that, which blew my mind today, gas prices. Yesterday, gas prices down here in Florida, in our part of the world. Okay. I'm hearing sound coming out of all kinds of different monitors. It's not supposed to.
Yeah, I'm hearing like a static, but it's not really bad.
Yeah. I'm going to make some adjustments here once you get going here on your part again. But gas prices yesterday were in the 280 range, and as of this morning, they're up to 317, 319 on average. So it's amazing what election eve will bring versus election day when the controlling party hasn't fared as well. So, but go ahead.
But fear not, people, because I feel like the gas prices are going to start coming down.
Drill, baby,
once
drill.
We get this man, once we get this man in there and he makes a couple phone calls and schmoozes in, all these, whatever he does, he's a genius at it. And just give it 6 months to a year and we'll be back below $2 a gallon. I guarantee it.
Quit fracking around, guy. He won't be fracking around once he gets in there.
Get those people back and drill.
Drill, baby, drill. All right, you dig in. I'm going to make a couple adjustments here, so just please ignore the fact that I'm not in front of the camera right here for a second.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, so I did see on X this morning that Kamala is expected to concede and make her official speech around 6 o'clock. I'm assuming Eastern Standard Time, just because of where her vice presidential residence is located. I don't have a specific on that, so I'll try to add that to the comments when I do nail that down. But I don't know why she's waiting until this evening. Maybe she's hoping and praying that somehow, they're going to find some more votes. I don't know. But the nail has been put in the coffin, people. He is the president-elect of the United States and will be sworn in January. Right.
That call should have been made last night, irrespective. Even Hillary back in 2016 did that.
Right. And her followers showed up at a university that she was expected to come out and speak at that night. Either way, like whether she won or lost, whatever happened, she was going to come out there. She left and told all those people that had waited outside for hours to just go home.
Right.
So that tells you, I feel like it's such a disrespect. She's been disrespectful to Trump supporters. She's been disrespectful to Trump, to Vance, to his entire family, to everyone that has supported him along this entire election campaign. And then after all the dust settles, to then be dismissive and disrespectful to her own followers that have supported her throughout her entire mini campaign that she had, I think that just sums it up to me, who she really is, not only as a candidate for president, but as a person in general. It's really shitty. Sorry, but it is to do that to people. Be the bigger person. You've talked about it for weeks, how we are going to be, the unifying party and all of these things that she has been talking for, over and over and over about, to come out, or to not even come out and address that, hey, we tried our best. We went out there, we voted, we got people to the polls. You guys did so amazing, and it just wasn't enough. And I'm sorry, whatever she wanted to say, but you got to say something.
Right.
Don't wait until 24 hours after the fact and then be like, well, because it looks like at this point, it looks like she's only coming out and saying what she's going to say this evening because she has to. It's not because she wants to or because this is how she truly feels about the whole entire situation. It literally looks to me, and I'm sure to a lot of other people
Right.
finding this news out this morning, that it just is it's like a, well, I have to, so I guess I'll go out there,
Ange,
you know.
I got to make one change. I'll be right back. You keep on going for a second.
Okay. I did see, because we watch so many various things across the internet and so many various different news outlets. I'm not even calling them mainstream. They're no longer mainstream. They're no longer legacy. They are just media at this point. Kamala did not exceed the amount of votes that Biden had in any district, in any state, in the entire United States of America. And that was via CNN. She bombed hard. Like, I was getting kind of flustered. I remember texting Dad pretty early on. The numbers started to come out on the East Coast, and it was pretty predictable to what we had thought was going to happen for the East Coast. We did not see at any given point New York turn red, not even for a second. So that was a little bit disappointing. But when you break down the numbers and you see where people voted, it is in those densely populated areas like the Tri-Cities where those electoral votes are what takes New York. And it is unfortunate, but that's just the way that it's built, and it is what it is. But we do know that Trump has a very large following in New York, in New Jersey. We've seen it at the rallies. We've seen it at the town halls. So I do expect that he is going to still have a massive support in that state throughout his presidency. It's just he didn't take that. But what kind of made me jump a little bit was when Texas, we started getting to the middle of the country, and it was about 8:30 Central Time. Texas popped up on the map as blue, and I felt my stomach kind of start sinking a little bit, because that was mentioned on various different outlets and even on social media, that because of the influx of illegal immigrants coming into our country and the Democrats pushing for them to be able to vote even without an ID and all this drama, seeing that pop up as blue got me a little jumpy. But I knew that Texas is a stronghold for the Republicans. So it calmed down, and he ended up taking Texas as predicted. I was really hopeful for a long time that he was going to be able to take New Hampshire. New Hampshire kept flipping back and forth for about an hour, where it was red for 10 minutes and then it'd go back to blue. After about a couple hours, it stayed pretty blue, and she ended up taking New Hampshire. But there was a good fight. Another good fight, really close, was Virginia. That was red for a very, very long time as the votes were coming in and being counted. And I was very confident that he was going to take Virginia for a really long time, until I wasn't confident anymore that he could take Virginia. But he did lose by a very slim margin. So it wasn't that she had a runaway in Virginia and all of her efforts just paid off and none of the Trump team's efforts paid off. It was very close and very hard fought in that one. So honestly, that was the closest, I think, that I've seen out of all of the East Coast states that Trump very well could have won. But we just couldn't push over the threshold for that one. That was a little disappointing. But Pennsylvania got called. It was nearing midnight Central Time, and 86% of the vote had already been counted. So we knew it was coming. You could just feel it. And I was getting impatient, because you can see the writing on the wall at that point. You know, you're breaking down the numbers, you're looking at the districts. Trump flipped Erie to red, which is a huge deal. There was a lot of counties that were predominantly blue for the last few elections that have turned red this election in Pennsylvania. So that was exciting. And when Pennsylvania finally got called, I don't know about you, Dad, when you get back on, but it kind of felt like this weight of this just relief, and all this weight had just been lifted, because you knew at that point that he was looking favorable in a lot of other swing states, but to take Pennsylvania was like the top prize for the election. And I'm pretty sure at that point in the Kamala camp, all of the wind was gone out of the sails. I did see reports on X that at one point they muted all of the TVs and only turned on the volume when she won a state, which wasn't a lot of them. So just, I think everybody, it shows, okay, when you break it down to its most basic form about what happened yesterday in our country as a whole, it proves the most basic principle that when humanity comes together and works their butts off to make something happen, it can happen. Humanity came together, and we are going to save the United States of America from utter destruction by a party that, as of this moment, is being dismantled and picked apart one seat by one seat, and it's not going to, I don't think, get any better for them in the immediate future. I think there's going to be a lot of infighting. There's going to be a lot of blaming in the coming days and weeks. We're going to see a lot of people lose their jobs on networks. It happens every election season. It's normal. But I think this go around.
That,
No, you're good. I think this go around. I'm talking about how it proves that as humanity, when humanity comes together for a common purpose, we can achieve anything. And also that I think we're going to see a lot of turmoil and destruction and fallout in the Democratic Party in the days and weeks that follow, because we're just really starting to scratch the surface this morning and this afternoon. But wait
the reality's
until
just
everything
starting to hit in right about now.
Right. Wait until, all of the states have been called. The House has been called, and the Senate. All the voting has been counted and concluded, and while all of that is happening, the turmoil and the takedown within themselves is going to be brewing, and we are not going to really see the end of this. We haven't really seen a lot of statements being made by powerful individuals who have been in support of Kamala this entire time. I expect to see that come out, but I don't think it's going to be right away, Dad. I think they are.
It's been way too quiet.
Right.
And I agree with you 1,000%. Until those people, until Kamala comes out with a statement, and the tone of that statement will be very, very important, as well as the tone of any statements that are released by the hierarchy within the party. And this is not a party beating thing. We're not here to, stir the pot and do all that kind of stuff. The reality is that had this election gone the other way, they would be looking to the GOP, the hierarchy, the president, to make a statement. They would want a calming statement. They would want, everybody to just take a deep breath, because power has to be transferred in a peaceful and orderly manner. And sometimes silence is deafening. And that's what's going on right now. That's the biggest worry I have is let's have some statements other than we'll just get back to you later. Because what that makes people think is, well, if you're not...
What are they plotting?
What are you plotting? Yeah. And that could be just tinfoil hat stuff. But, we have to harken back to what happened about 3 o'clock in the morning 4 years ago. And it was Georgia that it happened in. And then, all, when the magic ballots appeared, all that kind of stuff. So the faster they come out with statements, the faster they come out with, we fought the battle, we lost, let's get together, move on, do all the right things for this country, and make it, if you don't want to use the term, make it great again, proceed forward in an orderly and just not violence, but in a
Right.
manner that is
Let's really exercise nonpartisan lines. You know,
Right.
I mean, we're still all Americans. Whether you voted for Kamala Harris or you voted for Donald Trump, you are still just as much an American as anybody else who's a
Absolutely.
citizen. And you know, I don't disagree. I do disagree with the people that voted for Kamala Harris, but I don't think that you're any less of a person or that your feelings aren't valid or that you being upset, you don't get that right. You have that right. Just like if Donald Trump had lost and we would have been sitting here on the opposite end saying, well, you know, it was a hard fought fight and we did absolutely everything that we could have done to try to get people out to vote, yada yada, et cetera, et cetera. But the same principle
Time to
has
move
to
on.
be there. Right. We have to, you know, the old saying, you pick up your bootstraps and get to work.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah, it's the same. It just means the same thing now. I mean, if you want to see America do great things and its citizens succeed and its future generations succeed, then the only way that's going to happen is if we try to compromise on the issues that some feel aren't worthy of a compromise. And that's going to take time. It's going to take discussion. It's going to take a lot of give and take. It's not going to be overnight. But I think the first step has to be made today, that these statements that are coming out from, you know, leaders and campaign people, just it needs to have that tone to it, or it is going to be you know, you don't want people out protesting and having a situation like it was in with the George Floyd murder. You don't want that. You don't want people's businesses getting set on fire because your president or your choice for president wasn't chosen by the American people. You just have to be the bigger person. That's what today is. You just have to be the bigger person.
The sooner that happens, the better. Right now, they just need to go ahead and make that announcement, whatever it is, have that discussion, and
Be okay.
the Trump administration now has a lot of work to do in the next 90 days. There are thousands upon thousands of positions that need to be filled. Don't not only talk about the ones that are going to be fired, but the ones that we have to. He is very aware, and his administration is very aware, based on what he learned in the first go around. He knows what he has up against him. He knows how the machinery works. He knows where those people are that have
And
to
he
be
knows what
positions
those
of
people
loyalty.
are about.
Oh, he learned Washington is more of a cesspool than he ever envisioned it was, and those people that he brought into the administration that he trusted in 45, that they were only there just to get enough dirt to write books. You know, those are the generals, the people that came out during the election process and during the campaign, and called him everything but, you know, a slug, which they would have called him that anyway. But that's where these people came out, and you can't trust them. And, you know, generals and whatnot. I've listened to a number of military people who I respect vehemently, who said that a number of these generals, these people in the Pentagon that came out against him, were well respected and people that they would follow into battle and, you know, drop on the grenade for. So they were some were very upset about what was said. Others said, I have to believe them because I trust these individuals that much. The president now knows that he and his staff knows what they have to do this time around and how they have to surround themselves with people that they can trust, that can do the job. And the job is a big job. We have wars that around the world that leaders that need to be addressed. We all know who those leaders are. We have the economy that needs to be restarted, or has to be put back on course. As of this morning, as of right now, I don't have the current numbers, but a few minutes ago, I checked, and the market was up almost 1,400 points today. So Wall Street is reacting very positively.
Right, Dad. When I was watching, it was probably around 10 or 11 o'clock last night, they had done a check on the stock market, and the how do you say it? You know the terminology better than I do, but the futures, yeah, the ones that come up once the stock market opens the next day, that was already at 800 plus. As of like 10, 11 o'clock last night. So people were seeing then, and that's right around the time that he took Pennsylvania. So that makes sense. I think
the futures never took a nosedive or began to slide, I should say, better way to put it. But it was quite evident easily within the first 2 hours, where things were heading. The writing, I mean, we all saw this. It was very indicative of how things opened up in 16. I mean, if you look at the map, if you look at how the timeline on this was, it was almost, cut, paste, and repeat. For not exactly, but on a broader scale, it's how it was looking, and the markets reacted. The future markets had been reacting almost immediately in a positive manner. When the markets opened this morning, it was all north. So people say, well, what are they anticipating? Well, what they're anticipating is not a 28% tax rate. What they're anticipating is maintaining a 21%. The markets and businesses like to not have to worry about change. They need to know concrete what they can anticipate.
right.
They don't have to anticipate now a oh my goodness, having a moment myself. I think I need another cup of coffee right now.
We're sleep deprived. Okay, guys.
The world is sleep deprived right now.
Worth it,
but
though.
Looking at capital gains, taxes on unrealized capital gains, which is something that absolutely was a ridiculous thing to say or think of. Getting taxed on something that hasn't occurred, having to sell something because you're taxed on it because of the value and you haven't even sold it. Tell the markets,
Right.
Tell the marketplace, tell businesses that they have to look about paying taxes on something that revenue that haven't even recognized by selling the asset of the stock. So there's a whole lot that were thrown into the Wall Street mix, and the confidence level was there, and the undertow had been there prior, although there wasn't a whole lot coming out in defense during the campaign. For a lot of reasons. That's a whole different show. Business understands what they need to do, but business also has to play like...
They have to play it safe, because if
politics,
it went the other way, then they're not caught with their pants down around their ankles, I mean,
Exactly.
you have to protect the money and the equity of your business at all costs. That's number one. And I think what we're also seeing today too is a lot of, and I've seen this on Fox this morning, a lot of people have realized that after everything kind of wrapped up last night, and the initial, like, you have the moment of, okay, it is real, I'm not dreaming this kind of thing, and you kind of calm down a little bit.
By the way, the Dow Jones is up almost 1,500 points right now.
Wow. That is incredible.
And the composite indexes are up just over 300. What's interesting is where did it go here? The Standard & Poor 500 index is up just north of 104, just south of 140 points. So, yeah, the market's booming today. If that's any indication of how Wall Street feels about the results of the election, that ought to tell you.
And it's going to shoot up again with another big jump on Inauguration Day. That's a given, because once he's solidified and certified, and the hands on the Bible, and we got the keys, let's go, we're going back in. People are going to be.
That first step is going to be. It's like the last election.
What did I tell you? He needs to give Biden as his parting away gift, though, and I hope to God this happens.
But
I really
there's
do.
going to be. I wouldn't doubt for one second that the same thing happens round two. He heads right over to the White House. What Biden did, what he did to the Obama era that Biden did to the Trump era will happen again. So there'll be a stack of executive orders waiting for him. Let's get the wall started again, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The mass deportations. You know, and I don't.
Just because he hasn't revealed all the details yet, you guys, does not mean that he has not been working with his advisors this entire time to work out how a plan like that could be initiated, what kind of funding they would need for that, because they have to present it to Congress like, okay, if we're going to do this, this is how much it's going to cost. This is the timeline that we're expecting. Like, they need facts. So if he's going to start that on day one, absolutely know that he has been working on a plan for that for months.
Yeah.
This is not just something that he popped up in his head.
And that's where this goes back to the importance of controlling the Senate, hopefully taking control, maintaining control, I should say, with
Right,
some
it's
more
looking
room,
really good
hopefully,
for
in
the House.
because then you have the mandate at that point. I mean, he's already got a mandate as far as the executive branch goes, based on just the raw vote counts and the Electoral College.
And he won the popular vote. So
yeah, I mean,
there's
that
that too.
hadn't happened in 2 decades. So the mandate is there, and if you look at the underlying, and we can get into this, and I think we need to do a separate episode just getting into the nuts and bolts of, you know, where all this came from, where the draw was, but you know, where the strong points were, where Kamala's weak points were that should have been strong points. I was really blown away by a couple of different things last night, just to touch on them. I mean, why not? Here in Florida, Miami-Dade County. Miami-Dade County went red, and that it was phenomenal. That hasn't happened in a long time. I think it's only happened since maybe going back to Bush was the last time it happened. Bush.
Oh, was it Daddy Bush?
It was Daddy Bush, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to double check that, but it's been that long. But Miami-Dade went, and it went early, and that kind of blew us all
Florida counted
away.
at record pace, Dad. Congratulations to DeSantis on that one.
Ron DeSantis is my Florida hero. I'm sorry, I'll beat the drum for that man.
He's going to make a run for president in 28.
Yeah, he's waiting his turn. He's waiting his turn. But what Florida does, Florida learned from its mistakes going back to the day of Count the Chads. And the changes have been made. The election, the numbers blew away records down here, just like it did in most of the country. But the one thing is we don't wait until until the polls close to begin the process, like some states that have not learned that doesn't work, or it doesn't. It's not as
like Michigan.
It works. It's just not as efficient. You're trying to get an election done on the day of. You want to get the results out so the country knows who, where, what, and what direction we're heading.
Right.
This we're not starting. We're doing anyway. Florida counts. The numbers of the early voting were enormous. Were ginormous. To paraphrase a word that I don't use very often. Those votes had been those tabulations had already been worked on prior to the polls closing. So that's why everybody was like, "How did they call things so quick?" Same thing in Tennessee, I believe. Tennessee was called with 0% reporting because the numbers had already begun being tabulated from the early voting. So,
he had 64% of the early vote in Tennessee. So really, with early voting, that's why Trump was saying, "Hey, get out and vote early," because that's how they were able to call these states so quick. Is because he was already well above the needed amount of votes in that state to get those electoral vote count.
Right.
But it was incredible.
So it's amazing things can be done. I'm amazed that what was it? Michigan had the flub up on the counters weren't locked. That threw off the whole thing. They had to recount 35,000. Was that Michigan or? I want to say it was Michigan.
I think it was Michigan because Pennsylvania, they were turning people away from early voting, so they had to stay open in one district till 10 o'clock.
One district had to stay open late. but because so they had that there. They had the machines, I think, in Michigan, if I'm not mistaken, that were had not
Something
been
about the
they'd been
password.
sealed, but they'd sealed them, but they hadn't locked them. And
Okay.
one of the Republican observers noticed it, which made them have to then rescan like 35,000 ballots. So that slowed down that process. And then in Georgia, I believe that's where they had a number of bomb scares. So
Oh, yeah, they
15
had a lot of
different
bomb
polling
threats coming
places
in.
had to be extended to take care of that. And that's where they were throwing in that they thought that Philadelphia area had not fully reported, and that's where they were holding on so long. That's the reason, one of the reasons why the final count took so long, or the final call to come.
Right.
How they were thinking when you're that far into the count and you've only got a very small number of votes yet to be counted, but they were still thinking there was a couple 300,000 votes sitting somewhere in Philadelphia. I'm not a mathematician, but I know better than that. But what that had me thinking was, oh, here we go.
Here we go. And that's why everyone was so scared to go to sleep, Dad, because it was like, we have so much PTSD from 2020. Like, if we go to bed, we could wake up and she could take the whole wall. She could take Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
Michigan, and Wisconsin, and here we're screwed. Like, I'm not going to bed.
No, I wasn't gonna. Nobody was going to bed till they had the final, had some kind of finality on that. I was working
Right.
a midnight job back in 2016. Listened to the whole thing, and at like what was it, 2:30 in the morning, something like that. It was pretty much a done deal. The numbers were there. Trump was in, and by 3 or 3:30, as they found umpteen tens of thousands of ballots somewhere, and went, oh, we forgot about these. Bam, it was over. So, yeah,
Right.
I think
When we lost to Biden, yeah.
we were all a little bit nervous about something, and that's one of the reasons why the party needs to right now. Let's they talk about beginning the healing and doing all those things and the joy thing and all that. Now's the time to do it. Get out there. Let's make the speech. Make your concession. We know nothing's going
Let's
to
get
change.
this show on the road.
Those 1,000 lawyers are sitting on the ground right now. Tell them to all go home.
Right.
They're
They're
there's
not
nothing they're
needed.
going to pull that's going to change anything. And let's begin the process of moving towards the next 90 days of making sure this administration takes power and control in a very calm and well, the way the Constitution was written, the way the Constitution demands.
Right.
It's what needs to happen, and
And I
it all
think
starts
Trump
with
and his
the top.
entire team is completely committed to that. You could tell, Dad, during his speech last night, he got up there and, I mean, I started to get
Breaking news.
teary-eyed.
We have
Oh, breaking news. Breaking news.
Harris calls Trump to concede, so apparently she did make the call.
Oh, she did? Okay, good deal.
Yeah, that is
Good
just
deal.
come across the wire. So, yeah, there were couple pieces of breaking news. That was one. The other is something I spoke
Well, I
about
think
last
she's still
night.
going to make the statement, Dad, tonight
Oh,
for the
that's
for the
still gonna
general
happen.
public. Yeah.
But the starting point was that phone call.
And
you
I'm
have to
sure that was
rise
not
above
a
and
very
make that
easy, long phone call.
I bet you it was pretty quick. Sup. I'm out. Peace.
Right. I won.
Peace out.
Mic drop.
Boom. All done.
See ya. Start packing your bags. JD
Yeah.
needs a
I
nice,
got
clean,
to-
fresh house.
I got to go back and start packing up my suitcases because they's going to throw me out. Well, she's got every accent
Right.
on the planet. Who knows? Maybe she was doing it in Indian. She could have been doing it in Swahili. I don't know.
Oh my God.
English,
Hey, you know,
Irish.
she'll have. Oh God. It was funny because I was thinking about this last night, and I'm like, well, what is she gonna do like after this? And I'm like, who cares? She's not. She's not anywhere near the White House in the next 90 days. So whatever.
She can go and write a book and go on a tour.
She'll write
and
several.
hang out with the Obamas, and she's leaving office, say, more of a millionaire than she was. I don't think there's going to be any. Can't say, but any legal. Excuse me.
Bless
Pardon
you.
me. Thank you. any legal repercussions. The Trump folks have said that there's going to be no of the evil things they accused everyone of. That he's going to be chasing people down and throwing people in internment camps and all those crazy things that they talked about. I mean, the DOJ the head of the DOJ better run for cover. Because Trump's already said.
I think he's already trying to leave the. He was on. Oh God, was it CBS or CNN or whatever the heck one of them is? And he was talking about. He was talking about how he's trying to already get like his passport lined up and where he's going to go. Like he's scared.
Well,
he's scared.
Again, I don't want to get into this, but at the end of the day, you were the head of the dragon that facilitated all these things.
Mm-hmm.
The attacks, the lawfare. One of the DOJ officials that was sent down to New York for the New York trials. There's a whole lot of things that I can't get into because I'm not that privy to nobody is to all the things that happened around this.
Right, we weren't in the room.
You're right, I wasn't in the room. Nobody knows, but it's going to come out. And what you put him through, you helped facilitate putting him through, and then now you're on the receiving end. Maybe it's time you go duck for cover. Dig a big hole and put yourself in it. Because if you did collude, if you did things that were wrong, I'm not saying you did. None of us know anything. But if perception can be reality.
Mm-hmm.
And if that was the case, then maybe he needs to be somewhere else or somewhere lawyering up. Because he may be on the receiving end of what what Donald was on the receiving end of. And again, this is all just yapping. But when Trump has already said, his job, he'll last about 2 seconds. So he's needs someplace to be anyway. I just wonder how much is going to come out about how much the Department of Justice was involved. It was being directed by the administration to do and to allow the prosecution how it came about.
Well, I think we're going to see a lot of transparency just overall. I mean, Trump talked, he spoke about it with Tucker Carlson on his podcast show.
I love Tucker.
I do too. He is a goofy dude, and I like his style.
Quick shout out. Thank you to Fox News.
Yes, thank you.
Fox News, and again, it's who I watch, it's who I trust. I watch a lot of different networks.
We were on a lot of different things last night, so it's not specific to that, but
1, 2, 3,
Fox in general.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8 monitors going. I overloaded my streaming at one point. Said, "You got too much soup for you. Go home." We were in there trying to watch it on the main screen, and I started getting error messages about too much. I was taking too much traffic. I was like, "Well, there's a lot to watch, a lot going on."
Right. You never know what's going to pop up next.
But kudos to Fox News. They did an awesome job, as always. Their reporting was amazing. They tried to balance as much as they could. When they did get folks like, what's his name, Buttigieg.
Yeah.
They had him on there, and that turned into a fist fight, a verbal fist fight. That wasn't the intent by Fox. Their graphics package, the things they did, the way they presented and tried to make it easily understandable. There's a lot of us out here understand what the hell's going on when these numbers are flying by and all, because they're throwing them on the screen. You and I have got something going on over here. We're tracking the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that don't understand it. They did an awesome job of providing
They really did.
an entertaining, well-informed production for people. So I doubt anybody from Fox is out there looking at Papa D and Angela today, but
well, hey, thank you if you ever do.
If you ever do, we thank you guys for the awesome job that you continue to do. So the people out there will argue that partisan this, partisan that, but they do a great job, and we appreciate them. So shout out to the Fox people.
Very much so. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. We're going to need you guys.
There's going to be a lot going on, and we can't wait for the next chapter. That chapter's being written today. So where we are right now, it looks like, well, we got the count up to 292.
Yeah,
We still got
293.
293?
Oh
They're
no,
not showing.
292. Sorry.
Yeah, 292. We're still waiting on Nevada and Arizona.
Yep. Yep.
We still have
and Alaska.
3 Senate seats that we're aware of that are in flux that have not yet been called, right?
Right.
One in each of those states plus the one
But
in
I do
Pennsylvania.
expect those to be called within the next few hours because of how many votes have already been reported.
Yeah.
And there hits that threshold of once you get into like the 92-93% range coming in that have already been counted, that's when you can pretty much say, okay, this person has it in the bag. Even if you're in the 70s or 80% so far counted, that still could go the other direction. So once you hit that 90-ish percentile, you could say, okay, with confidence, I know this person won the Senate seat or the House seat.
I'm trying to see if I can pull some numbers up. Yeah.
Usually,
84%
okay,
are reporting
for the Senate seat.
Well, this is by the state. Nevada's got 84% reporting right now, so they're coming
Okay.
to the head of this tick. And
Yeah.
then Arizona. See, Arizona kills me.
I don't know why it's
61%.
taking so long. Why?
I mean, 60% of the vote in Arizona is in, what is it, Phoenix, is that Maricopa County? Is that Maricopa?
I'm not exactly 100% on that. I cannot verify that for sure. I know where it is on the map. I just don't know.
Yeah, but it's anyway, when you look at Phoenix area, that county, I'm almost certain it's Maricopa. I'm probably wrong, though.
We'll
I
go
don't
with
live in
it.
Phoenix. Yeah, I'm good here. I have enough trouble with our Indian
We've been
names,
looking at a
pronouncing
lot of
names in
maps,
Florida.
right, and districts and boxes the last 48
Yeah.
hours. My brain hurts.
But here we are, 24 hours, nearly 24 hours removed from when the
Nearly,
election,
yeah, a few more hours.
when polling started, and we've got 61%, and 60% of the state's returns are in one county, in one location.
Mm-hmm.
So, what always takes, and this is not a this year thing. This is an annual or a election event. It just so happens that this year Arizona's numbers mattered more for a couple different reasons. So they need to, I'm not dogging on them. I got family out there, and
Right.
y'all need to
But
start.
if you're
getting on
not doing your
elected
job,
officials.
right?
Exactly.
Like, it is what it is. I mean, it's not that we're, like you said, heavily coming down on Arizona because everybody else
No.
got theirs counted or whatever. It's like if you knew ahead of time that there might have been some issues in getting that count on election night or even a few hours after, we didn't hear Michigan till a couple hours or an hour ago. So within that 24 hours, but Michigan was already at like what 80 or 90% when it was called.
Right.
Most of it had already come in. So why isn't? I agree. I think something
Something
kinda-
needs to be
kinda
adjusted. And I know
smells off.
the state laws, it varies by state and what they can do and what they can't do. But you've got to streamline this, especially when you're talking in an election year, general election, when you're trying to be as quick but as accurate as you possibly can.
right.
And so you can close out, at least not close out, but in the minds of the people and the electors and the half of the country that didn't pick the winner-ish. So you can begin that process of moving forward, getting the state certifications in. So in December, those state certifications can be in. So for the final confirmation by Congress can be made to certify the election. You've got states multiple times larger with different rules of engagement relating to the counting of the ballots that we're
right.
able
And when
to
they can
get those in
when
half the
when
time.
they can count.
Yeah, so I think that's the big problem. I believe it goes around the the rules that they don't begin counting or they can't begin counting until everything's in. And, maybe there needs to be a change in that respect, especially with the number of mail-in and early voting that has been, and I think in the future will continue to take place.
Right. I think that's going to be a trend that we see going forward. We did.
Absolutely.
There was a lot of turnout yesterday that I saw, just in my area, and
I
then
was gonna ask you,
watching.
how are things in Tennessee? Now, you live outside one of the metropolitan areas, so you're not in the city. We're not getting
Right.
into demographic
For safety
particulars.
reasons.
Well, exactly. One day you're going to be down here, and then if anybody wants to say something, come say it through me.
Right.
I digress.
It was
That
it was
my
pretty
dad moment.
busy. It's okay.
Now,
Dad.
you've got a moderate to small town, so you've got a pretty good sized population area.
Right.
And
It's a
you
fastly
went-
growing town.
You went first thing in the morning, right? You were there at the crack
did.
of dawn, right? What was it like when you went? Talk to me about it. There. Talk to me.
Talk to me. Okay.
Tell me about it.
So the girls, my daughters got on the bus. My son did not have school yesterday because his school was where I went and voted. So that was pretty cool.
By the way, I have awesome grandkids. Just so you all know that.
My son is going to be bowling in the Special Olympics on Friday. He's going for his 3rd medal. So
That's my boy.
our family's really proud of
OG
him
man.
for all that he's done so far in the Special Olympics. It's amazing.
Support the Special
regardless,
Olympics.
Yeah. So I I think I left the house as about 7:30ish. Got to the school to vote, and at first I parked out front, and that was a no-go. So I had to go around and park in the back of the school where the student parking was, and it was pretty. I would say there was at least 200 or 300 people there when I got there, and yeah, and most of them were men.
Surprises
I was seeing some women come out, walking out, and then once I got inside and got in line, there was, women were scattered around, but it was mostly men. I mean,
That was my
the
question.
guys were coming out.
More men. And you had mentioned to me that it appeared the men were carpooling in. There were groups, like there was a concerted, hey guys, we're heading to the polls.
Yeah. There was a group that I saw when I first got there, and it was like 4 or 5 guys, and they looked about my age, like mid to late 30s. Probably all work maybe in the same office or whatever the situation. I'm not sure, but they were there, and I just thought to myself, okay, like we need to get the mail vote out there. So here we go. And then you walk in the door and I get in line, and it's just, it is predominantly men. I would say 70-30 at least.
Well, that's what we saw, what was talked about last night during the election, that the male vote, the female vote was very important, especially that's what Kamala was going for. But the working class, and I don't want to seem like something I'm not, but the white working class male bringing that vote out. It wasn't that it was any more important or less important, but bringing it out, because these are a lot of people. It's a group that historically will sit out an election if it appears things are leaning the right direction. And that's where the vote early, get out as fast as you can came in.
I told you about my interaction with a guy at a store I was at the other day, and he's an older guy, and we were in a store. I was shopping for some stuff to get for the house, and somehow or another we're in line, and everybody's talking about it. It was the day before, it was Monday, and he goes, well, I don't really think it matters if I vote, because we're already going to be red anyway in our state. So what does it matter? And I kind of looked at him and I was like, well, I don't know about you, but I know he's going to win Tennessee. I'm going after that popular vote, because I don't want her to come away from tomorrow, or at the time tomorrow, thinking that she won anything out of this. Like, there's no way in God's green earth I'm going to let her think that she came out on top for anything.
Right.
So
That's
he kind of
what the
laughed.
was teeing up for. That's what
Right.
they've been tearing up for. If they could come out and say, "Here we go again," like Al Gore and George
Right.
Bush,
Well, she won. Everybody
She won
really
the popular
loves
vote.
her.
and the electoral
And the
college
electoral
doesn't
vote-
work, and it's outdated.
It's got to go.
That's why everybody had
We
to
needed
vote.
to shut it down. And
that's
he
the
kind of
conversation I
laughed.
had with the lady the other day.
Right. And I do hope that he got out there and, made his voice heard and did get out to vote. But it's those interactions where people are so stuck thinking, well, it's always been this way, so it's just going to be this way. And you have to be the person to maybe change that perspective and bring those topics up and the key points, because that might be something that they hadn't thought about before, but it might be the push that they need to get them out there to say, okay, well, hey, I didn't think about the popular vote. I'm going to go out and do my part too.
And that's where the mandate comes in. That's why we're talking about 4 million plus votes difference in the general election, the general count, the popular count. And
That's a lot.
It reads to the country that to that half of the nation, or a little bit less than half the nation, that didn't vote for Trump. What that should say is that degree, but now it's time to step together and lockstep together. But and I had that same conversation with a woman about a week ago. Well, I've got no reason to vote because Florida's going to go anyway. Well, first of all, we had other things going on down here also, constitutional amendments that were
which
hugely
did not
contested.
pass both of them. So that was
it passed. The one passed, abortion passed in 2 other states, one of which was Arizona, I believe. But the constitutional, and both of them came in close. That's what got me. That and the marijuana deal came in just under the 60% cap that they had to hit to be passed. I think one was roughly, I'd have to look it up. It was at one point like 57, 58 point something percent. But we were getting beat up down here in the media about that for the last couple months. It was ridiculous, and it was all 90% of it was BS. It was all lies. If you read into the amendments, but anyway, we're not going to get into that. That's a regional thing.
But those did not pass.
They did not pass, and of course, the liberal side of the world is already starting to completely eviscerate us with respect to our stand on how we voted for. We voted not against, or we voted no on that proposition.
Right. Let me just say this real quick. To those people who want to bitch and moan and complain about the fact that it didn't get passed, Florida will still take all of your vacation money when you come there in May and June and go to the beach and go to Disney World and Universal and all those places. They will absolutely welcome you with open arms, whether you approve of what happened in that state or not. So just keep that in mind.
We love you.
We'll see it. We'll see you on spring break. I'll just leave it at that.
I don't expect that the highways are going to be any less congested. I do not expect the parks will be any less congested, and we hope you all come and visit us because we love you no matter what.
Right. Exactly.
As was said, was it Donald who said it, or was it JD? Someone had said, we just want you to vote, and if you don't, it was Trump that said it, I think. If you don't vote for us, we still love you. It was Trump. Was that one of the last rallies?
Yeah, it was. It was his last.
He said, "We still love you. We still love you." And again, big, that thing right there. However that goes.
Oh yeah, the
little heart
thing.
Man.
Heart.
We, those of you that don't like our politics,
that's okay.
Are not required to live here. As I said, I am not going to wade into that debate. My position is very clear on how I feel about that on both of those topics. And I will tell everybody I voted no on the constitutional amendments. The marijuana one is a whole different ball of wax that you all need to do your homework on, because what that was one company that put together the constitutional amendment, put tens of millions of dollars together so they could be the sole supplier of dope. And
and monopolize the whole industry in Florida.
And make it hard for law enforcement, because now people would be able to smoke dope in public, and you wouldn't know who the bad guys are anymore, and
Right.
the law enforcement. There was only one sheriff in this state that was for that. And if those of you that follow this Florida and law enforcement, and more importantly, my favorite sheriff, Sheriff Grady. Man,
He is
awesome.
a gem. He is a gem.
Polk
I'm
County,
sorry.
baby. He is
I
awesome.
could watch that man all day. He's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I love our sheriff. I love all the sheriffs. I used to be in the game myself to some degree, but Sheriff Grady's awesome. And it was very clear that law enforcement was not for this amendment for a multitude of different reasons. So for those of you that think that pot should be legalized, for those of you that think that, and I'm going to step into it up to my neck right now, but it's free country. We've just confirmed it's a free country still. For those of you that want to kill babies right up until 9th month, find someplace else.
Right.
'Cause
Or
they
go
do.
to a state that has it approved, like Tim Walz. Go,
He'll give
It's
you
approved up
tampons for your
there.
restrooms, too.
yeah, he's going back home.
He's been quiet,
he's-
hasn't he? Speaking of him.
Yeah, he gave up.
Man,
I think
he
I
climbed
think
under a
the
rock early.
kicks, he did one too many of the little can kicks, and I think that was the end of that for him. They
Yeah.
kicked Biden off the campaign trail. They told
Well,
him to stay the hell home.
They kicked Biden off the
It's a
campaign
mess.
trail. They took his phone away from him and locked him in the White House. I don't mean that. I mean that
And
jokingly.
did you see, Dad, that
What?
Jill was wearing a completely red outfit to go vote yesterday?
Yes, she
I don't know if you
was.
caught that.
I wasn't going to say anything about that because I really didn't know if I
Very
should read into
suspicious.
that.
Very
Well,
suspicious.
You want to talk about that for a minute? We're only up. We're about an hour and 18 minutes here. We're having a good. This is
Okay.
the thing, guys.
Why
when you
not?
come to listen to us, we talk like Angie and I are sitting across the kitchen table, as we have many times, talking about the day's events, and in this case, the most important day's events, the day's event.
Right. And all the
So-
little things.
If you're looking for a talk show with all kinds of graphics, I mean, I can flash graphics on the board, and I can do all this funky stuff, but it's, meant to be more just a very casual, entertaining conversation, and that's why we tell you guys, I don't see nobody putting comments in. Do you have the screen up, Ange? I can't even tell.
No, I don't have the screen up. I
Okay,
I have
don't have it either.
I can see us, but I can't see all the other goody stuff.
That's all right. I've got everything re-rigged from last night, and I'm still running on Papa D's multi-screen viewer here.
I just want you guys to see this real quick. Okay, so while all the states on the East Coast were getting counted, before I get to the Joe Biden conspiracy of her dress choice color, which I mean, I thought that was AI. I'm not even gonna lie to you until I was like, oh, it is real. But this is how bad it was. As the numbers were coming in, this is me doing counts of states and their electoral votes. And this is how committed this channel is, okay? I'm telling you, you want like the nitty gritty of what people at home that don't have a big fancy studio do. This is as real as it gets, honestly. It's
I'm
so
sitting
fun.
in front of the screen, and I've got the iPads out, and I have all the. What I did is I kept all the individual major states, and I was bringing them up one at a time and able to check them and page through them to see where the current status was. So I found myself arguing with Fox that their numbers
geez.
were off on various.
Oh, was
states
that when I
by-
was texting you?
Yeah, and it's like, no, it's 0.3% more. And then all of a sudden we'd be watching the screen and Fox would adjust and match my numbers. But, yeah, it's sick. It's a sickness. It really is.
It is, but it
But-
is so fun.
It was fun to do. It's certainly more fun when your team's winning. And there was a...
Oh yeah.
There we go. I'm back.
But I think we had a lot of help in some places that we might not have expected to get help from. Like
Well,
I
you go ahead. I know, and touch on the counties. I mean, Kamala versus Biden, county by county nationwide, 0.
Oh yeah, 0. So
Overperforming. 0.
she out throughout every state, every single state, even California, even New York, the predominantly blue, strongholds that she could count on going into election day, just with the early vote count coming in, and they had their predictions on who was registered Democrat versus Republican that voted early, and that's how they started to make their early predictions. Even with that, she might have won the county in that state, or in that little area cluster, because there was certain states where there were clusters of blue, and then you'd have like a little bit of red, and then you'd have like another little cluster of blue, and that's usually the bigger cities, like the state capital area. Those
Right.
tend to be a little bit more leaning liberal than in the outlying rural areas of a state. That's not always the case in there are exceptions, but
Right.
like even in California specifically, where she won the same county that Biden did in 2020, she was still, 10, 15, 20,000 votes less. So I think a lot of people, what happened, and this is what we had been predicting for a couple of weeks leading into election night, is that a lot of Democrats who were still registered as a Democrat were now saying, F this, and I'm voting for Trump. And I think that's what we're seeing coming out overall, especially in California, where you see there's like, you have the coastal area is blue, which is pretty normal. You've got LA, Santa Monica, all, San Francisco, you've got all those places. But when you get into the inner core of California, it is just this blob of red everywhere. So
Right.
I think a lot of people woke up, but it's really telling to say, well, he got, and this is, I think, the conspiracy where everybody's leaning towards today is Biden got 20 million more votes than even Kamala did, and at least 9 or 10 million more than even Trump did on a landslide win in the United States. So I think people are really curious, like, what is happening? Where did all those votes go? Were they even real? Number one, which, I mean, there's going to have to be that's going to take time to figure out. Really, that is not going to happen overnight. There's a lot of comparison and number statistics and breakdowns that have to occur.
That'll be
but
part of the certification process prior to next month. So
right,
there's going to be some cleaning
and we'll
up
know more.
making sure that everything right down to what machines were certified and correctly certified and sealed and all that.
Right.
There's still work to be done there, but
I think her party left her long before the election came, and it showed. It showed on election
you
day.
know, let's go back to one of our first, and probably goes in one of our first episodes, when Kamala was ordained.
Yeah, right after
Okay.
when she chose Walls and stuff.
As soon as we went from Joe Biden saying, I'm okay, I'm fine, I'm running, I'm not dropping out of the race, have a nice day, you're all wrong, have a nice day. And within a matter of
A week.
2 weeks, week to 2 weeks, Kamala was chosen. It was decided by the party hierarchy that there would be no running it back through the process. Actually having
Right.
her
They felt they
chosen,
had no
not
time.
appointed, so they put her in place. At that point, and I said this, but you couldn't get confirmation because the media was running block and tackle for her at that point. She was the golden girl. I mean, she went from being someone who couldn't get out of her own way and had never done anything on her own as far as politically, other than the California deal, to being Mother Teresa. And it was all because the media drove the bus. And back then, you and I were saying, and many people were saying, that this was going to go nowhere. I mean, she had a good showing overall at that one debate. Good showing.
Yeah, she did okay.
She did well, but what it turned out to be was just a bash Trump fest. Again, we never got into what her policies were going to be, what her plans were going to be. That never came out. But way back at the beginning, you could get that sense that there was only one reason, in my humble opinion, and that of other pundits, that she even got that position. the money was with Biden. The delegates were with Biden. If
Right.
Biden
If
released,
they would have
once
started
Biden-
over,
if they would have, if they had to start over again and start collecting money, it would have never flown. But the only way they could have the money transferred over to where she could utilize that money and continue to raise money through the Biden campaign process was to anoint her because she's the sitting vice president. She was there, part of the ticket. That's the only reason, because you can't tell me that there's no other person that was a better choice. Joe
Oh, there
Biden
were
was already
several.
on the receiving end of an ass kicking by the Trump campaign. It would have been worse than what we saw last night, which is really hard to believe, I would say. I mean, last night turned out to be a winner-winner chicken dinner. Could you imagine if Joe Biden was the candidate? The numbers were even worse.
oh,
So-
and especially at the point where he had been kind of campaigning for Kamala and the things that he was saying, like if he would have stayed in the race, oh my goodness, we would have
Yeah, he
flipped
was-
New York for
he
sure,
was-
maybe even California.
He was campaigning, all right. He was campaigning.
He knew, I think, and this brings me back to the red dress controversy. This is gonna be a controversy for a little
Right.
while. But I think, you know, with the what was seemingly to us and many Americans on social media and just watching it in real time, the weird coincidences of him coming out at the exact moment that she was trying to do something big for herself and to say all these crazy things about Trump and his followers, and you know, he's trying to bite off baby toes, and like he knew what he was doing. He
Hitting
knew.
Trump people in the ass or something. And
Right. Oh, those are the type of guys you got to give a kick in the ass. I'm like,
Kick in the
wow,
ass,
this
grab
is
him and
not
smack him in the ass.
1945.
And it's like, all right. And then he was going to take earlier before he was bumped out of the way, I should say. He was going to take Trump out behind the woodshed or something. I mean, it was
Right.
just like
He wanted to kick his ass, really.
Yes. Well, so it makes you think. You have to take pause, and you have to say, yeah, he got pushed off to the side. He wasn't very happy about it. Jill wasn't happy about no longer being the queen of cards. So maybe they're not going to let us talk that much, but every once in a while I'm going to sneak over to the side closet and grab the cell phone or grab the, I can get on this computer thing and do a little Zoom meeting and
Oh
just
yeah,
kick a throw a couple softballs over the fence.
it was hilarious. They had a field day with that on Fox when after it happened, and it was like the nightly, you know, different little shows they have come on. They were having a field day with it because they were like, "Oh, you're gonna take away his phone, but Joe, he's sneaky Joe. He's gonna find a way. If there's a will, there's a way." And they were making Jurassic Park references. It was hysterical.
I mean, Joe
really,
had access to the war room downstairs. He'll just go lock himself in there and say, "I'm the president. I'm gonna make me a phone call."
I mean, he still is. Yeah, like, but I think he knew, like, okay, if I make it just subtle enough that people can pick up on it as being a little something, you know, but not so big that it's just blatantly obvious. And then Jill was waiting in the shadows the whole time, like, okay, honey, you go out and do this and do your
Let me dial
little
that
Zoom.
number for you, sweetie.
Right, I'll help. And then her big, you know, F you to the whole situation was yesterday when she went out and she's smiling ear to ear, you know, it's all show. She comes out in this red head to toe dress with the red shoes on, knowing damn well what her party color is when you vote. And I've been saying it. I think we will never know.
You'll never know.
But I have to speculate that I think she did end up voting for Donald J. Trump. She could not stand having to vote for someone that kicked her husband out and said, "Well, I'm taking over. Sucks to suck,
Yeah.
and this is
I
my
couldn't
show."
hold my nose tight enough, and I don't think she could either.
No,
But,
and I can't blame her, really.
There's a lot of that story. I cannot wait until for a lot of reasons. I cannot wait till after. I can't wait for Inauguration Day.
Oh, that is going to be so
my
great of a
heart
day.
will be so full of joy. It'll be pounded out of my chest.
I just got goosebumps, really.
My question, since we're touching on maybe not conspiracy things, but
No.
the what ifs. Looking at the at inauguration day, and the president is up there with Melania, and she's holding the Bible. And do you see? Can you envision? That's the best way I can say it. Joe and Jill, Kamala, and that Tutti Frutti guy, whatever his name is, or hubby.
Oh, Ed, is his name Ed? Is it
Fred,
Fred?
Ed.
Emhoff?
Yes.
I call him Emhoff. I don't know what the hell his name is,
I
really.
call him a lot of things, but you never. I don't. He's not part of.
I should
my-
correct that because
he's
that's
not part
rude.
of my everyday
But
carry, so I don't. But so what do you see on the dais in the stands there? I mean, I certainly believe that no one will decline to show up. That would be absolutely the wrong thing to do. It would be unprecedented. But you see Joe and Jill.
yeah.
Joe is, sniffing everybody's hair, having his ice cream cone. Jill's sitting
In
there
January.
in January with her red dress, red shoes.
I think she should wear the same damn dress to inauguration day.
It would be great. And then let's compare and contrast to when Trump took over inauguration day in term 1.
Okay.
Remember Obama?
Very solemn.
Very solemn, but you had Obama and Mrs. Obama.
Yeah.
Very stoic, stoic yet looking unhappy. To have to turn over
Yeah.
power, transferring power in a positive manner is one thing, but they weren't very happy about that. So I kind of look at that and I compare and contrast to what the next inauguration day is going to look like from the person whom you beat quite handedly and quite unexpectedly. And then on the other side of the aisle, two people that are probably voted for you anyway. It just created this thing in my head where it's like, what Peyton Place moment is going to happen on, and then I really hope
I think.
Melania brought a gift, remember, for Michelle.
Oh,
And they didn't even act like they knew what to do with it. So Melania will then probably bring a gift for Jill. Wonder what that might be.
Oh boy.
It just
I'm not
creates all these little
sure.
things.
I'm not sure exactly what the gift is going to be. But I have some theories. They're not good ones, but I have theories. However, I think what's going to
That'll be in the
happen
book.
on it'll definitely be in a book. So she's going to write it, something, it's, whatever, but I think what we're really going to see the day that it's going to be a big pomp and circumstance. I think there's going to be a lot of more people celebrating it than not. I do
It will
believe
be-
that.
You think a lot of people were at the first one?
Oh, it's going to be triple
What'd you see
that.
the Capitol Mall is like on that day.
Triple. Easily. He's not going to be able to do a parade because there's going to be so many people swarming in celebration that he's going to go back to the White House. I'm telling you, I don't see there being a parade walk. Maybe a brief
I don't
out
think
of the
there'll
car,
be a walk, but I think they'll take him straight. I think he might end up going straight to the review stand. But there will be a stop at the White House before that, just like there was
right. Absolutely.
7.5 years ago, 8 years ago at that point.
But I think Biden, he knew when, I don't think when the coup started cooing, I don't think he even thought that his own party would be that vile against him.
None of us
Because
did.
there's the ego, right? So his
Yeah.
ego was, I'm doing it. I'm going to be, a 2-term president. We got this, And then I don't really think he ever saw it coming in my head. because of the way that he had been talking. I do not think for a second that he believed that this was possible. So I
And
think
it
with
wouldn't have
him,
happened until Pelosi came down on him. I mean, that
right?
decision was made by Pelosi. We all know that.
Oh yeah,
And
her and Obama
up
got
until that
together
point-
and had a conversation.
And Obama said, I'm not going to tell him. You go tell him.
Right.
out.
He's not stabbing him in the back. He couldn't, because of how he had to portray the whole "we're brothers" at the DNC, which didn't, it went over like a lead balloon. But I do think when Trump and Biden, they're on the steps of the White House together and they're making that transition of, okay, we're taking the pictures together, and then Jill and I are going to leave. I think he's going to shake Trump's hand. And I think,
Yeah.
honestly, Dad, he's just going to say thank you.
Right.
Like,
Well,
I
what's
really
important-
firmly believe that.
What's important to Joe Biden? I'm not a big fan, but
No.
I feel bad for him. I feel bad for how this went off. But what's important to Joe Biden is his legacy, and
And ego.
how his exit as it's bad enough he's leaving the White House a one-term president. It's
Right.
twice as bad, like you said, because he was pushed out of his second term. And all that I think that matters to him at this point in time is his legacy, his presidential library, which I believe fully it'll never be built.
I don't think he'll get one.
I mean,
I
who's
don't
ever
think
gonna,
he's done
who's gonna
enough.
donate money to build something? But that's what would matter to him. Whether he's
Right.
all here or not all here, that is what's important to him. And the man has been a long-time public servant. He's overstayed his welcome from his perspective of how he's been able to accomplish things over the last certainly few years, but prior to that. But he's been around a long time. He's devoted his life to the country, to serving the public. He certainly has served himself well and his family well while doing it. But his legacy is the thing that once he is out of office, he will leave office, I believe, in a gracious manner. I agree with you 1,000%. They will do all the right things. Jill will make sure things happen the right way. Because once that ends and once the helicopter leaves, that's when the gloves will come off. That's when the books will be written. That's when the stories will come out.
And Jill will be leading the way on that, because
and
I
Jill
have
will
a
be leading the drive
feeling
on it.
Biden, I don't see him. He has not looked good. I know we saw him jogging towards the press not too long ago, but
Right.
Overall, I don't think he is going to be the one that comes out with all of that information down the line. I think it is going to be Jill. It's going to be the
She'll come out
family. It's going to be the Biden family that really spearheads that. And depending on what Trump decides to expose and make available to the public, we might know even before then, just tidbits, but we might know a little bit more about how that came around and how Biden and Jill really reacted and felt throughout the process, which I think is important, because if we don't learn about that as Americans and we don't have access to that, then it really creates this breeding ground for something like that to happen again, if not worse. So we need to figure out where all the problems were so that we can put a stop to them and really heal the country, like truly heal.
Absolutely. What has been expounded by both parties, and just has not fared well, because this has turned out to be such a dirty pool match over the last few months. And hopefully it'll get better. But there's a lot of the story. There's more than a lot of the story. This story is yet to be come out, and the book is yet to be written, so to speak. So we will know more about that as time passes. Right now, I think the process is to make sure that the transition takes place in a timely and an orderly fashion. Laws have been passed to hopefully facilitate that. A lot of work has to be done. The country is still Here, the system is still working. It has worked. It's done what it was supposed to do. It performed the Constitution so far has performed as it was written, as it was supposed to be done. We only hope that there isn't any games yet to be played, because we know elections have to be certified. We know a lot of things.
Hopefully not, but it's looking promising. I think we're over the threshold of, if anything was going to be catastrophically bad, it would have already started.
And I do believe that people, I think, have already taken a pause. I mean, we're going to see in the media, we joke about this, but I had to go up to one of the state offices today for some licensing things, and I was talking to one of the sheriff's officers briefly, and he was very, very excited about the evening, and he must have picked me out of the crowd as being a like-minded individual. Must have been the glow, or maybe I needed to put more dust on my head. But we started talking, and he was just excited, and he says, "Yeah, I can't wait to get home tonight and see a little bit of the opposing news reports and all." I said, "Well, I've been up all night, and
They've been coming in already."
It's nobody's happy. I mean, the media, because now they've got to explain themselves for what they've said and what they've done over the last few months. And I said, there's going to be a lot of interesting shows today. And he said, "I can't wait to watch The View." I went,
Oh, everybody! I did watch the. It was about 11 minutes long on YouTube this morning. Just, their intro. They sit down at the desk and they all start chatting, whatever. And
I've never watched
it was
the show,
surprising.
so.
It was surprisingly calm.
Well, it has to be.
But I don't see that lasting at all. I think
No, all hell's going to break loose, and on top
it
of
is going to be
that,
ugly.
I've heard through the grapevine and various sources that Disney may be in the process of wanting to divest ABC. So they all may be looking for work.
Oh boy!
So there's a whole lot
But
of potential change down here. But
you make your
what
bed,
they
Dad. You got to lie in it too.
you make your bed, you got to lie in it. That's right. I mean, the best thing that these talk shows and these news shows could do. And again, the reason we don't talk about. Mine went off a few minutes ago. You heard her go ballistic.
He's excited.
I'm just, I love my puppy, but
He's like, USA, USA.
yeah, Trump. Fight,
Really, the
fight,
leaf
fight.
blowers are outside blowing the leaves away from the house. But
Yeah.
we're gonna say he's all about Trump.
Hey, we're all about it. What do you think of the graphic out behind me?
Looking
Okay.
good.
I like that. But we're going to kind of change gears to slow it down. We're up to almost 2 hours now, believe it or not. But I think what we're going to do, we've got really over the next probably 12 hours or so, there'll be a lot of closeouts with respect to those last few races. Right now, we just double check and make sure. We like to give accurate and up-to-date information. Click. And we are still waiting.
I didn't see anything earlier, but
No, we're still waiting on Nevada and Arizona. I'm just waiting to see if anything came out on those last two calls, plus the Senate seats. So we should finish up, I would think, within the next,
I was
maybe
looking
not
at the
12
Senate.
hours.
yeah, I would say by late tonight, we should have at
Yeah.
least the states called. And I would say the majority, if not all, of the remaining seats for the House and the Senate.
Absolutely.
Because they
And
are
by the way,
going.
big shout out, Marco Rubio.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Had me scared early on last night. There was real thoughts he was not going to survive politically this election, and it turned pretty quick. It made a hard right turn about the time the polls started making a hard right turn. I meant to mention that earlier when we were talking about the Senate races.
That is good, because
so
I mean,
big-
it's
big
scary.
kudos to
You
him.
really don't know.
Well, this is a time that that man will got a lot of work ahead of him, as most of our party do, and he's needed. It's time he's needed right now, especially what's going to be going down. What is going to be going on down at the border in very short order. If
Very, very
something-
short order.
So, but anyway, with that, but yeah, we're still waiting on those last 2 races to be confirmed and settled. The big one right now is going to be, that's taking time, is Arizona. About 61% reporting still, so they're going to be
Just
ones that could be
waiting and
days
waiting.
out. But once that's done and we get those last couple of Senate seats resolved, the House, I don't have current counts on the House.
I think the last time I had a count, it was at, hold on, let me,
Yeah, I'm bringing up the map now.
it was 208
Yeah,
for the House.
House.
So they're knocking on the door of the finish line to that for a takeover. They had a lot of
Yep.
seats in Arizona and California that were still being counted for the House seats.
Yeah, they're still showing on this page 201, and I know that's been updated since
Okay.
then. It's been further since then. So hopefully we get that all resolved. Then we'll know where the House stands. But right now, where we're at, we got through the election. We expect, once all the dust settles with respect to those last 2 remaining states, we should be at Donald J. Trump, the president-elect, should be about 313 on the Electoral College count. We'll just say that was 1 over our original estimates of at least 2 to 3 months ago.
Right,
Yay.
which is pretty
Yay
good
us.
considering we are not professionals, people.
We don't do this for a living. We do it because we love it, because it's fun. And if it was the pay, tain't none.
Someday, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, not worry about. We don't worry
If
about
not,
simple
I'm
things
still
like
having a
money.
good time.
We're enjoying ourselves. So right now, everything is kind of on hold for those major events. The Kamala has made the phone call to President Trump.
Right, we
And,
will see the live little speechy speech tonight that
Levette
she.
tonight, sometime this evening. I think she's going back to the college.
I
that
do
was
believe, yes.
That's the story we got from her
Howard.
assistant campaign manager.
Hmm.
By about that time, hopefully, we've got a resolution on, again, those 2 states and the final tallies on the Senate and the House seats. And then we'll begin the process moving forward of the states being able to bring the information together and certify the elections. Elections will be certified next month.
Then we start figuring out who he's going to hire for his cabinet and to represent all these different.
The thousands of jobs that have to be filled.
There's a
So
lot of stuff. So
if you're a
that's
smart
coming
person,
up too.
send your resume into the administration. You may have something
Never
for
know.
you to do. But I know one person that's going to have, or 2 people that will have jobs. Elon will be preparing himself for his new duties.
Yep.
To make sure they
And-
cut the waste out of government. Robert RFK will be the director, and I say director, I don't know what they'll call him, but of health and well-being.
I am pumped for that because I
Make
think
America healthy again.
in the art in the we're talking about transparency for Americans. I think that man is going to be leading the charge first and
Absolutely.
foremost. There's a lot of
Absolutely.
things that we do not know about what we're putting in our bodies, and it's going to be really a good
He
thing to
cares.
know that that we have people in Washington that really do care about us, our children, our future. So it's a great feeling. It's a great
Yep.
feeling.
And and there's many people that I hope find their way, and I know will find their way into this administration. And 2 of which I'll mention right now, and I will send out. I send out a lot of best wishes. Lost my camera again. There
Oh,
we go.
there you are.
Yeah, I was floating through space there for a minute. It's what happens when
We
you
talked
lack
about
sleep and
Elon, and he was
too
like,
much-
"Okay, we're
and I'm-
going on a
and I'm
trip."
here we go. But Gifford,
Yeah,
we hope that, and we know that she will find her way into the administration. And out of Arizona. I had my notes all written out for me. Can't think help me with the name. Out of Arizona.
Oh,
She lost the race last night.
oh yeah. Was it Kelly?
No.
No. There's so many
Yeah.
people.
I'm
I'm sorry, you guys.
Yeah, but anyway, we've got. Yeah.
I didn't
name
even
it
write it
comes to me.
down.
Yeah, but we have got a number of people that have assisted throughout the process. We've got some winners, some people that did not get through their elections, their races, that will hopefully find their way through into the administration to be a valuable asset. And I know the president will most assuredly take advantage of those people.
Oh,
got a lot
yeah.
of good players out there. There are going to be players on both sides of the aisle that President Trump can utilize. And this time around, he will surround himself with, as we spoke about earlier, with people that he can trust, that aren't there to write a book, cut a book deal, while he's got the important job of reassembling the pieces and bringing this country
Right.
back together.
I think
so we wish him
I
all
think
the
it's going
best.
to happen.
It
Yes.
will happen. We're going to have some great names. We also have to look down the road. There's a possibility that he'll make in the next 4 years 2 more Supreme Court appointments. So there's a lot of things coming up here. A lot of items that will take place. A lot of events that will take place that are long-term important to the future of the nation. So
Yes.
a lot of things going to happen. We'll keep on top of it. We're going to keep trying to throw a update weekly or more, possibly, I think, as we work through the administration's process of getting ready for inaugurations. So,
Right.
who
Cabinet
these players
appointments and all
turn
that.
out to be, absolutely, it's going to be a lot of fun, and we will keep track of that and bring that information to you. We've had a little bit of fun today with this. This has been kind of a freewheeling event, freestyle. That's the word I'm looking for.
Freestyle.
But we try to make these episodes light and easy. We know people from. I've gotten a lot of comments from people in other countries that watch us and enjoy kind of hanging out with us a little bit. And there will be a time in the future that Angie and I will be in the same location. We're going to bring this into a different venue. It's going to be down the road for a little down the road a little bit, but we're getting closer every day to that. And we just hope you guys keep coming along for the ride. But we are, and I will speak for both of us, but I know Angie will say the same thing. I've never been more proud of this country, of its people,
Yes.
than I
And
am
thankful.
today. And thankful. We all said our prayers. We were all a combination of happy,
A collective
yet-
exchange.
and to some degree a little bit of terrified.
Oh yeah. Anxious for sure. Anxious for sure.
Yeah.
It's normal.
And oh, absolutely. There was a psychologist on TV that was talking about that at one of the talk shows. You know, that the angst that this causes, whether it's justified or not, some of it's created in your own mind, some of it's created by the party who's saying things that you are just completely adverse for and know are bad for the nation, for its people.
Right.
But we're in a bad place right now with respect to the big items. We can sit and argue all day long about the ancillary things, such as these constitutional amendments that popped up on various ballots yesterday. But those aren't the things that are going to make this country great again. And I don't say that to be a Trump supporter. I say that truly to make this country great again. We need the market to continuously be in a position like it is today. We need the economy to be in such a way that when you go to buy groceries, that parents can afford to feed their kids without worrying about what they got to put back on the shelf, what they can't afford. I mean, I went to the store yesterday to get a couple of things, and you're looking at a piece of meat, $18, $20, $25 for a piece of beef. These are prices that people can't afford, and that farmers can't afford to continually not sell. So it's hurting everyone.
Right.
As President Trump gets into office, as things start to kind of rewind again, and once energy This whole thing starts with energy, as the president has said, as Elon Musk has said, as many people have said. Once the energy issues, once we begin to produce again, a lot of these problems will start to slow down. We can start bringing the inflation rates down, and hopefully make things a lot better for everybody. But we're at a point in time, folks. I think we've gotten what we and what this country needed. We'll take the next steps. We all need to take a collective breath.
Mm-hmm.
I don't I don't voice my opinions screaming, yelling, hooting, and holler out in public. I've had people that have approached me that have done that, and I don't play that game.
Right. Well, I think
So,
I think Vivek said it perfectly. He put a post on X that winning the election isn't the finish line; it's the starting point. So
It's the starting
now the work begins. So
This is the hard work.
right, this is the real make it or break it. We can actually do something about it kind of work. So we still need to,
Right.
stay vigilant and stay the course. But just know that you can rest a little easier, I think, today, knowing that the change is coming
Yeah.
and the positivity is coming, and
The course
you no longer
set.
have you no longer have to be fearful of what is to be, because we know what's coming, and Trump is going to do a great job, and his whole team. I have no doubt in my mind what they are capable of,
No doubt at all.
especially when Elon's on the team. So I'm so pumped for just the next phase
Well-
of this, just to see how this all starts to come together.
Again, you can wake
it'll
up
be
this
great.
morning and breathe a little bit,
Right.
and then we just move on to the next phase, and we just all control ourselves and control our emotions. And it's easy for those of you out there who are going to say, yeah, it's easy for you guys to say you're on the side of the team that just just won the election.
Well, even if
Well,
it
you know
wasn't
what?
the way, I'd still get up and still do my duty as a human being, just be good to people. Like,
4 years ago, we woke up to a Biden administration,
yeah, we went through this already.
and we didn't all lose our mind. We just took a deep breath and said, well, hold on to your butts, because we don't know where this ride's going to end.
Right.
It wasn't too long ago that we woke up collectively, 2 elections in a row, to an Obama administration. Obamacare, increased deficit.
Mhm.
The beauty of the constitutional government that we have is that the transition takes place. You're going to have half the country not happy. Everybody has to get together and back who you have. I never said Biden wasn't my president. I didn't support his policies. I didn't support a lot of what he said, but he's still the president. He's still the president. He still is in the White House. The government still keeps going. We wake up the next morning, things keep rolling, and that's where we're
Right.
at today. And we all just take that
Absolutely.
collective deep breath and congratulate the winning party, and then do what we can to support their goals. And
Got
if
it.
you can't, and if you find yourself unable to do that, then I don't know, shut up and take a deep breath
Right.
anyway.
Just keep breathing. You'll get there eventually.
Yeah, we'll all get there. But I think we're going to roll this thing back now and be done. We'll follow up on these last remaining races if we need to. We can come in with a quick update if necessary, or once these things clear up and we get some finality to that. But congratulations to President Trump, President-elect Trump, his
To
whole
my Trump
team,
man.
his family. Awesome job. We as supporters and those of you out there that also supported the president, we're proud to be able to exercise our constitutional rights to be able to assist this in happening. And Mr. President, we wish you only the best, and God bless you and your family, and thank you for everything you've done and that you will do.
Right. And JD and his wife and
Absolutely.
their children.
Absolutely.
Congratulations to him. He is one of the youngest VPs. He's 40 years old.
In fact, it's going to be
he's
one of
got-
my favorites.
Yeah, he's got 3 young kids, and I think he is going to do incredible, incredible things
Yes, he
alongside
will.
Trump. And the man was crying on stage last night, you could tell, and it's a
Oh
very
my God.
emotional thing. So I am so pumped to see
JD, you
JD
deserve
sworn
it.
in. Yeah,
We are behind you
absolutely.
guys. I mean, you came on board a ticket that God only knew where this ride was going to end, and your running mate was they attempted to assassinate him twice. So much
Right?
happened around the campaign, and here you are, boss. Here you are, Mr. Vice
Enjoy
President
this moment.
elect. I can't wait to not have to say that
I
elect
know.
thing. But we wish you and your family the best. We thank you for your service. We thank you for your future service. And again, Mr. President, congratulations to you and to your entire family. And by the way, your son is tall. Wow.
Yeah, Barron is very tall. He's
Barron's a
6'9".
big boy. But to see him grow
He's
up
a
from
good
what
kid.
the first
Right.
term, how awesome has this been?
I know, full
So-
circle, right? He's in college.
Absolutely.
By the time Trump leaves the White House, he's going to be finished with college and starting his career. So that's going to be
Yeah.
really exciting to
We'll,
see.
we'll see what he decides to do. But
Yeah, I'm
best
excited for
best
that.
of luck to Barron, and on behalf of the people that have on the other side of the aisle that have made fun and said things, very unkind things, I will apologize for them because they know not what they do.
Right.
You're a great young man, and we wish you the best and the entire family. So, not to be too mushy, but we are blessed to have that family
In all of our lives.
in our lives, and that man still standing,
Yeah. Hopefully for a long time.
hopefully for a long time. So, congratulations again, Mr. President, and we're glad to be able
job.
to stand by you and support you and do the little bit we could. And with that, I think we'll need to shut this down. We've done our 2 hours. We've had a good time. Guys, I hope you've had
It's
a
a
good
good
time
time.
too.
Subscribe
we-
if you like it. Give us
Yeah.
a comment.
Do all that. Where's that bell ringing things and whatever, all that stuff. Just hit the bells, hit the subscribe buttons, hit the notify buttons. I think Angie and I are going to probably put episode 17 together here by, what is today, Wednesday?
Yeah.
We maybe can drop another live stream. We'll see what the rest of the week been, because we don't know what the next 24 hours will bring. But maybe
Right.
Saturday or first of next week. I mean, I'd like to be sooner than later because there's a whole lot more news, and we want to get this channel really punching out the current stuff as the transition starts to unfold.
Right.
So,
It's a
we'll
very
try to
critical
put-
time.
It is a critical time, and it's good for you all to know what's going on. We're here to inform and have a little fun while we're doing it. So
Right.
we hope
now
you'll
now
enjoy
the
that.
the information part starts. I'm excited regardless. This is going to be
It's gonna
good.
be awesome. It's gonna be
So good.
awesome. All right, guys. Well, with that, I think we're gonna call it. And thank you to all for coming out today. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us. And we will be back later in the week with updates
Mhm.
sooner if
Necessary.
necessary, with something to share. Ange,
Thanks for stopping by. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and congratulations, Donald Trump. Congratulations, JD Vance, all the winners in the Senate and the House. Sorry to all the losers. Better luck next time. Kamala, start buying those U-Haul boxes. Your date of ending is stamped. And thank you. Have a good night. God bless. God bless America.
and I reiterate every bit of that to the Kamala people. If you need some extra boxes, I've probably got some boxes laying around the house here. I could help you out. So just let
Right.
us know. But again, congratulations to the president-elect, Mr. Donald Trump. Congratulations to you. Thank you to you and your family. You guys are awesome, and we cannot wait to hear more news about what the next steps are in the transition. God bless you guys. God bless America. And we will see you at the next episode. Bye.